Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today is the 6th day of the creative burst to celebrate Sale-A-Bration. I hope you're well. It's the end of February. It's almost the 1st of March, 2 more days, and that means that we're going to see spring in a few more weeks. You wouldn't know it looking at the window here. I still have a couple of feet of snow. It's very cold. It looks like we're in the middle of winter, and I guess technically we kind of are. But I am thinking ahead to spring, and today I have a really cute project that features raspberries. So let me show you what I have. So as I have been mentioning all this week, we are in the final countdown of the Sale-A-Bration special, okay? And this is a really exciting time of year for paper crafters, because what that means is that for every $50 or $100 that you spend on paper crafting products, and that can be anything, paper, tools, stamps, adhesives, embellishments, you name it, you can pick something from this brochure. So this was the first item that we used on day one, and this is the Paper Blooms Designer Series paper. This is free with a $50 order. This stamp set, Darling Donkeys, is also free with a $50 order. Each of these items on both sides of the page. There you go. So you've got a stamp set and designer series paper here. Here are two more stamp sets that I used earlier in this series. Both of them are wonderful. I particularly love the sentiments in this one, Heal Your Heart, definitely worth a look at if you haven't checked it out. I used this beautiful designer series paper to make a little gift box. This is 12 by 12. It's a full pack. You get 12 sheets of double-sided paper. Very versatile, very pretty. And here, this one. This is one of the $100 items. This is called A Touch of Ink, and it's a very large stamp set. It has 17 stamps in it, and it features a hummingbird, a freesia, some foliage, and a butterfly. Really awesome set. And then this one, the Berry Blossoms set, which is a two-piece deal. It's also a $100. Let me restate that. It is free. Everything in here is free. This is free with a $100 order. And for that you get the stamp set and again this 12 by 12 DSP. So I already made a, let me see if I can find it. I made this note card yesterday using this stamp set and the DSP. Today I'm going to make a little box, and this time I'm going to use these beautiful raspberries. Alright, so let's get the tools and papers out. For my base I'm going to be using Blackberry Bliss. And for ink, I have my Blackberry Bliss and Cherry Cobbler. I have a couple of stamping blends. These are the alcohol markers, and this is a set that features Granny Apple Green, both light and dark. I have the striped ribbon out, and this is also Blackberry Bliss, and you can see it matches perfectly which is why we love the Stampin' Up! Product so much, is because of the ability to coordinate all these wonderful colors. And then I have already cut out, I have some of that DSP, so it's really pretty. It's a watercolor of some raspberries and foliage, and then it has this alternate, which is on the other side, okay, that also coordinates, which is a close-up of the surface of the raspberries, and you can see just how beautiful all these things look together. So I couldn't resist. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I have a couple of scraps here for stamping, and for we're going to do a little bit of die cutting as well. So let me get organized. Got my trimmer. And I'm just checking to make sure that we're broadcasting, and that looks good. Okay, and I see some people. Let's see who's there. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Candy. Hey, Candy. Nice to see you. All right. This is a really, really easy box. This is a great box to have in your repertoire of three-dimensional projects because it's so easy to make. It uses one single sheet of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock. You don't have to trim it down. It's very easy scoring. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to need the arm for this. I'm going to open up my arm here. I'm going to start with a score on the long edge, so long edge at the top at 1 inch. Three inches, six inches, and 8 inches. And then on the side, this is with the short side at the top, I'm going to score it at 2 inches on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over and do 2 inches on the other side. And I know it's a little hard for you to see things on these darker colored papers, but let me just do my scoring first, and maybe you can see better. There we go. Okay, so it looks something like that. And now I'm just going to snip along this edge. Okay, this is the long edge. So I'm just going to go up each of these score lines to that intersection where the other score line goes across. Okay, same thing on the opposite side. Okay, so now this short flap that's only 1 inch wide is going to be our front flap, so I'm going to snip off these two corners. Okay, And then these side flaps, I'm going to trim down to about halfway because we don't need all that excess material. On the middle square flap, I'm going to angle cut that on both sides. I think I can do a nicer job cutting there. There we go. All right, same thing on the opposite side, angle cut that square tab. Okay, so far it looks like this. I have my detailed trio punch here, and on this front flap, I'm just going to tuck those side flaps under and then slip it into my punch. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so get that in there. Press in the center. If you feel like the punch is giving you a little bit of resistance, it could be that you're angle punching it, and you don't want to do that. You want to press down directly from the top, and it'll work beautifully. And that is the basis of our box, okay? And this color is so delicious. All right, so now let's get our side panels. And I can see I did a sloppy job of cutting here, so I just want to make that a little bit neater. Oh, and as I'm looking at it, I see I forgot to cut these angles as well. So on these two side flaps, okay, so these are the two that we just shortened. I want you to give them a good acute angle cut. The reason being is that these are going to be going in and out of the box, and you want to make sure that the movement is clear, that they don't get hung up as you do that. Okay, so then the front of the box, which is here, you want to select the piece that you like the best. I think I'm going to go with this one. And I am using my multi-purpose liquid glue. This goes together very quickly. And if your paper is directional, and this paper is, the raspberries should be hanging down, you want to make sure that you're getting your image top up. Give that a good burnish. I'm going to turn it the other way because this is the back, and I want to make sure that these raspberries are hanging down. Okay. Did I mention that tomorrow is the last day of Sale-A-Bration? It is. So after tomorrow, all of those free items that I showed you in the brochure are no longer going to be available for free. And in fact, some of them may not be available at all. So if you'd like to check that out, I will be posting a link below after the video. Okay, and it will have all the information and links that you need to go to the online store, and you can see the get a good close-up view of all these wonderful things that you can select from. Now for the top and the bottom of the box, I want the reverse pattern, just like that. And I will give you the measurements of all these panels in just a second. Okay, so our box is going to go together like this. So these two flaps on the larger side are going to be on the outside of the box. So I'm going to place my side panels there. And that's important because you want that seam to be in the back. I have black caps growing in my yard. I also have raspberries. So the black caps are the wild ones. Absolutely delicious. And so fun to be able to go out there in the summer and pick berries. They rarely, if ever, make it into the house. I basically gobble them up as soon as I pick them. All right, so that's the outside of our box decorated, and I think you can see that. So it should look something like this. And the next thing I want to do is adhere my side flaps. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. So what I want to do is I want to sandwich those side flaps in between the layers. So you see how that is? Because that way the flaps won't be on the inside of the box and the contents won't get hung up on them. All right, so this is a little bit different than the way some of the other boxes go together. So in this case, I'm putting the glue on the inside of the flaps rather than on the outside. And then I can just bring this forward and raise those up and just look to see that we have a nice corner here. So I'm just going to hold that for a moment. Okay, if I hold it all together, I can make sure that my sides are square. And then I can tuck my bone folder in there and give that a nice burnish. Okay, both sides. Okay, so you can see those flaps on the outside. So now what I want to do is just put some glue on there. Bring this side to the back. Making sure that that's nice and square. Same thing on this side. I'm just holding that for a moment to let that get set up. And then again, give it a good burnish. Okay. And there's my box. So now let's decorate it. So this is the front. Okay. Now if you like, you can punch a little thumb hole there or not. And I have some tea bags here. So this would be a perfect box to give somebody with some tea bags. They fit in there very nicely, okay? So I'll call this my tea box. And I'm going to grab my ribbon. I really, really like this ribbon a lot. I like that it has those little stripes in it, and I like that it's semi-transparent. And it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, which is also very pretty. Make sure I get that straight. There we go. Clip off the end. And now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. I'll just put this over here for the minute. And there is a sentiment in here, and then there are some leaves and the raspberry that I want to use. So this sentiment reads, "You always have a way of making my day." So let's see, it'll fit on here. I'm just going to get my head in the camera here for a second while I line this up. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to grab the line work for the raspberries, and this, by the way, is a two-step stamp. So you have both the line work and the color fill stamp, and I'm going to be using both of those today. So there are my leaves. And then I have my raspberry, the line work. Let's see if it'll fit on this little block. Perfect. Okay. So I've got a scrap of basic white here. And I'm going to take this is the Blackberry Bliss, and I have to grab my garden green. Okay, and I'm going to start with the line work for the leaves. That's the fill. Okay, so there's my outline, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp off for the fill color to make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm just going to line this up. There we go, as easy as that. We're done with the garden green. And now for we'll start with the Blackberry Bliss. And I'm using the line work, and I'm just going to tuck one berry under those leaves, just like that. And then using the cherry cobbler, I'm going to fill. And get that right over the top. There we go. And finally, I'm going back to my Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to put my sentiment. And this is just a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to die cut this out in just a minute, so I may lose a little bit of the image. So I want to tuck that in as close as I can. There we go. And before I finish, I'm going to grab this is the light Granny Apple Green, and I just want to give that a little bit of a brighter tone on those leaves. Okay. Now for the die cutting, I'm going to get my cut and emboss machine out. And these machines are great if you're interested in adding texture with embossing folders or shapes with die cuts. You can get rectangles, circles, squares, hearts, you name it. And then there are also dies available that match the shapes of many of the stamps that are available in bundles. So you might want to look into some of those. The machine is $120, but if you join my team, you can get the machine for $99 and free shipping, which is a huge savings. You also get a free paper pumpkin kit. You get a 20% discount on all of your shopping for the next 3 months or more if you stay active. And you also get a free class from me each month. You have the invitation to come to the team meetings, to join us in team challenges and team swaps, and much more. So if you're interested in learning about that, you can go to dandelioncottagedesign.com and go to the join page. And there you can read about all of the wonderful benefits that you can get when you join. And only until tomorrow, if you join, you also get 200 pieces of designer series paper. That is 5 packs, 20 each, of the 6x6 designer series papers in each of the color families, including the neutrals, the brights, the regals, and the subtles, and the in colors. It's an incredible deal. It's only good until tomorrow. After that, it's done. I'm going to use the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I'm going to, let's see what this looks like. I'm just going to lose a little bit of my leaves, but I do want to get that straight on there. It's a little close to the edge, but I think I'm going to be okay. All right, so I'll run that through. And that gives me this beautiful shape with this wonderful stitching around the edges. Now I also want to have a base Let me see, will this fit? Okay, that fits. Put that through and just get it on there. It helps if you put your rectangular shapes through at an angle. It just goes through a lot more smoothly. And that gives me this wonderful scalloped edge with also more of that stitch around the perimeters. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but it seems like the filming has frozen, so I'm going to stop and start again.